Kristen, what is going on here? Why haven't you cleaned the stairs yet? They're filthy! I just walked by them now, and every single step had dust bunnies on them. Listen, Kristen, those stairs are more than just stairs. They're a passage that connects your unit to ours. Without them, how would you come downstairs to see us? If you're allowing these stairs to get so dirty, the only possible conclusion I can draw is that you feel the same way about your relationship with us. It's clear that you need lessons on how to be a respectable homemaker. Come down right now and I'll teach you how to clean properly. Mom? I think you should be able to tell just by looking at my massively expanded stomach that I am quite late in my pregnancy. And having given birth yourself, you should also be very well aware that at this late stage of pregnancy, some activities, cleaning the stairs, for example, are quite difficult for the mother. Ha! You're not going to get out of doing your work with those miserable excuses. I managed to keep the house clean while I was pregnant for both Tony and Mina. That's the difference between you and me. I understand the concept of duty and perseverance, and you would prefer to just laze around all day. If I could do it 30 years ago, you can do it today. No excuses, Kristen. Now hurry up, grab the vacuum cleaner, and meet me at the base of the stairs this instant. Mom. But not half an hour ago you made me go to the supermarket to pick up groceries for you. Did you forget about that by any chance? What? It's a 10-minute walk down to the store empty-handed, and since I'll be carrying bags on my way back, physically it will be quite difficult for me to do much of anything other than carry the groceries home this instant. Oh, I suppose you're right. Now, if there's nothing else you need from me at the moment, could I get back to finishing up the grocery shopping? You're also making me cook dinner for you tonight, so the longer I take to finish up here, the later dinner is going to get. Well, fine, go ahead. Thank you for your understanding. Hello there, Kristen. I'm just letting you know that Mina will be moving back in with us tomorrow. Really? That's odd. I don't remember hearing from her for quite some time now. Why is she moving back here? Did something happen? Oh, it's all quite ridiculous. Her mother-in-law and husband were dreadful to her, so they got divorced. Oh my goodness, a divorce? Yes, I was just as surprised as you are. Her first message to me in 2 years, and it's to tell me she's getting divorced. I'll bet that awful mother-in-law of hers drove her away with her constant nagging and badgering. My poor, sweet little Mina. Ah, yes, I can imagine how awful it would be to have a nagging, badgering mother-in-law. In any case, it is what it is. Your assignment for the afternoon is to clean Mina's room from top to bottom. I don't want a single speck of dust left in there, understand? What? I have to clean her old room? Well, of course you do. She's moving back in, isn't she? She'll be needing her old room again, and I want it to be as clean as possible for her when she arrives. Remember, she's still recovering from the emotional struggle of her divorce. Make sure you clean it properly. I hate to be so direct, but I would really appreciate it if you and Mina could clean the room by yourselves. With the two of you on it, it shouldn't take very long. Excuse me? Haven't you seen the weather report? There's a massive cold front on the way. I'm not going to break my back cleaning in freezing weather. You need to do it before it gets too cold. Mom, my baby's due date is less than a month away right now. That room hasn't been cleaned in 2 years, so it's going to be a pretty major undertaking in order to get it all cleaned up. Not to mention, I'm concerned about what sort of dust, mold, and that sort of thing could be in there. I don't believe you. Are you honestly trying to use that same excuse to get out of doing your work again? So what if your due date is so close? I deigned to allow you to marry into this family, Kristen. Don't you forget that. I won't let you repay my magnanimity with this utterly contemptible scorn. This is your responsibility, Kristen. This is what you signed up for. Don't think that I'll let you get away with this reprehensible behavior just because my son, your husband, is overseas on business at the moment. As long as you live in my house, you will live under my rules. This is ridiculous. Are you really so determined to refuse to admit that pregnancy, especially late-term pregnancy, places genuine physical restrictions on a mother's physical activity? Are you really so determined to refuse a direct order by the mother of your husband? When I married my husband, I was decent enough to know my place and obey his mother. I have no idea, nor do I wish to know, what sort of relationship you had with your mother-in-law. But regardless of how things were for you back then, nothing that happened to you would give you the right to treat the wife of your own son in this way. I am sorry, but as a mother, I have a sacred duty to prioritize the health and well-being of the baby inside of me right now. The baby could be born at any time right now, and in all honesty, it's rather appalling that you would be so insistent on demanding so much physical labor from me while I'm in this condition. How dare you! I will not clean Mina's old room. End of conversation. Goodbye. Kristen, what on earth are you doing? I haven't seen you all afternoon, and when I go up to your room, what do I find? You've put a lock on the door to your room? Who do you think you are? Is this the thanks I get for trying to make you into a respectable wife? What did that boy ever see in you? Well, when he gets back from his business trip, I think I'm going to have a long, serious talk with him about your future in this family. For the time being, come out of your room this instant. Don't think you can hide from me in that room all day. You will obey your mother-in-law. That's an order. If I have no other choice, I'll simply have to break the lock with a hammer or something. Ugh, what did I do to deserve such a troublesome daughter-in-law? Kristen! Kristen, I know you're there. You can't ignore me like this. Mina's going to be home any minute now. I order you to get out of your room this very instant. I mean it. Oh, and one other thing. The weather report said that we'll be getting an extremely heavy snowstorm starting this evening into tomorrow morning. And thanks to you slacking off on your duties to me, I haven't had anything to eat for breakfast or lunch. Do you know what I'm going to have to do now? Go down to the convenience store to buy food for myself and Mina. Do you understand the lows you have forced me to stoop to? What if I get food poisoning? When you come out of there, bring your wallet with you. You're going to be the one paying for this, plus interest. You truly dreadful girl. If this is the kind of daughter-in-law you are, I'm utterly terrified for your poor child's future. Unlike you, however, I'm not one to give up. I will straighten you out, Kristen. I will transform you into a real wife and mother like myself, no matter what it takes. Oh no, look at what you've done. It's already starting to snow. I can't believe this. I put on my normal shoes when I left the house because I thought the snow wouldn't start until this evening. I could fall and hurt myself on the way home. Food for 2 people is so heavy, I'm completely exhausted. How could you do this to me, Kristen, after all I've done for you? And what's worse is Mina just told me she'll be at the house any second. I'll bet she was absolutely devastated when I told her that you were being a lazy bum and hadn't cleaned her room yet. It almost brings me to tears just thinking about it. But even through her devastation, she still managed to muster up the courage to say, "It's all right, Mom, I can do it myself." I may have had no luck with a daughter-in-law, but at least my real daughter appreciates me. Well, just you wait, Kristen. You've gone too far with your disrespect this time. You're going to be punished for this, and I know exactly how to punish you. Kristen, what is the meaning of this? I just got home a moment ago. And now I see that you are still holed up in your room? Unbelievable. Mina's already in the house. Don't pretend you didn't notice. You have to have heard her come in. Have you no common decency? Come out here and say hello to her. How long are you going to continue ignoring my messages, Kristen? You haven't even read any of them yet. Don't bother trying to tell me that you don't have your phone. I won't believe such silly lies. Oh, you will regret this disrespect, Kristen. I'll make sure of that. Well then, hopefully this will teach you a lesson about respect. Just be grateful that I allowed you to stay in the shed in order to keep you out of the snow. While you're out there tonight, maybe think twice about ever disrespecting me again. My goodness, that was quite the snowstorm last night, wasn't it? I just came out to the shed to check on you. But, dear me, looks like the shed collapsed under the weight of the snow. I'm sorry, is that inconvenient pregnant belly of yours keeping you from getting up? My goodness, it was satisfying watching you squirm out there. What? Mom, what are you talking about? I just now saw that you had lit up my phone with notifications, and I had a really bad feeling about what was going on, but I'm not at the house right now. I went to my folks' house across town yesterday. Ha! You're not fooling anyone. I just saw you squirming and crying, half buried under the snow in the shed. Well, it's clear you haven't learned your lesson yet. I was thinking about coming to help you, but if you're still intent on lying to me, you can stay out there for a few more hours. Ask yourself, if I was outside, half buried in snow right now, how would I be talking to you on my phone like this? What? That shed was pretty old, so it doesn't surprise me in the least that the snow last night would have crushed it, but again, if there is someone out there squirming around in the snow like you say, it's not me. What? I think you might want to take one more look out there to see who it really is. Why, Kristen! Why didn't you come back to the house yesterday? Ah, so it would seem that the person buried in the snow was actually Mina, huh? The neighbors called me a bit ago. They said that they were concerned when an ambulance showed up at the house, sirens blaring. Well, what was I supposed to think? It was your room, the door was locked, and you weren't answering my messages. How was I supposed to know that Mina was the one asleep in there? Any rational person would have assumed it was you. Her room still hadn't been cleaned, right? Did you think she was just going to lay right down on top of 2 years' worth of dirt and dust? But how did she get into your room? The door was locked. Oh, I have a pretty good guess. Back before she got married and moved out, Mina had a nasty habit of going into my room and taking my things without permission, so eventually I got tired of it and put a lock on the door. Then, after a while of having the door locked, one day my things started vanishing mysteriously once again, so I figured she must have made a copy at some point. I caught her using it once and took it away from her, but I guess she must have had a spare, too. That's beside the point. This is all because you went to your parents' house yesterday. I know, isn't that an incredible coincidence? How can you laugh at a time like this? While I do feel bad for poor Mina, you have to admit it's pretty ironic. But you should also be grateful it wasn't me. If it were me out there rather than Mina, there's no way that both me and the baby would have come out of this okay. And you would have had some pretty serious consequences on your hands. But why didn't you tell me you weren't coming home yesterday? I spoke to you on my way out the door, don't you remember? What? 2 nights ago, I messaged Tony and told him all about the terrible way you've been treating me while he's been overseas, and asked him what he thought I should do. He told me that I should get out of the house for now and go stay with my parents. I called them up right after that, and they came to pick me up yesterday morning. They were planning on at least stopping inside to make an effort to be polite and say hello. But I thought that if you found out what I was doing, you would go berserk and do anything and everything you could to stop me from leaving. So I told them to wait in the car and that I would tell you they said hello. Wait, Was this while I was watching TV? It was indeed. So let's recap, shall we? Mina has gained so much weight in the course of her 2 years of being a total freeloader at her now ex-husband's house that you mistook her for a very pregnant me. And without even bothering to check for sure who it was, you threw her into the shed. Did I miss anything? Oh, that's right. The neighbors told me that they had talked to the paramedics, who told them that the reason Mina couldn't get herself out of the snow was because she dislocated her hip when you threw her into the shed. How can this be happening? And come to find out that the real reason for Mina's divorce was actually because she was constantly verbally abusive towards her mother-in-law while her husband was away at work. That apple sure didn't fall very far from the tree. That can't be true! You're lying! No, it's true. Call her ex yourself. In any case, I suppose I'll let you get back to looking after Mina while she's recovering. That's right. You need to hurry up and get back here so you can take care of Mina while she's recovering. I'll pass. My baby will be born any moment now, so I plan on doing some well-deserved rest and relaxation until the big day comes. You can't do that! I have already talked to both Tony and my parents about this, and we're all in agreement that this is the best course of action for everyone involved. But what about me? Correction, the best course of action for everyone involved, except you. Kristen, I need you over here now. I can't look after Mina. I'll miss my shows. I started getting contractions about 5 days after that incident, and it just so happened that my husband Tony got back in town from his business trip just in time for him to be in the delivery room with me for the birth. We are now the happy and proud parents of a healthy baby boy. Meanwhile, in stark contrast to our happiness over the birth of our child, my mother-in-law is neck-deep in serious trouble. Mandatory reporting laws meant the hospital contacted the police, and after a very quick investigation, she was hauled off in the back of a police car. So, while Mina was discharged from the hospital a few days later with a clean bill of health, my mother-in-law is now looking at building a criminal record. Tony and I talked it over, and we decided that considering how things have been going at his mom's house, we would make our temporary stay at my parents' house a permanent one. With her husband giving her the boot, her brother moving out of the house, her mother moving into a jail cell, and her father having already passed away, Mina realized that there was now no one she could mooch off of. One day I got a not-so-subtle text from her asking if she could stay with us at my folks' place for a few days. My quick-thinking husband told her that she could stay, as long as she would agree to become a live-in maid for us and my parents. She left his message unread, and we haven't heard from her since.